So I'm Cecile, delighted to be here with you all today and looking forward to getting to know each of you a little bit more. Since you all may recognize me from being one of the Round Sky partners, I'll just share briefly that I've been honored and energized to spend the last few months integrating feedback we've received from participants, from ourselves, our own observations, other instructors, and creating CoLab 3.0, a jump up from CoLab 2.0, as Rebecca mentioned. And we're also getting into a new educational platform, which I'm hoping will make a big difference to students' engagement and ability to access the material, including producing a new round of videos, which we're really also excited about. So I am looking forward to this level 2 journey with each and every one of you as we bring more shared power to our world. And in short, level 2 is really intended to support the increase of shared power through the practice, the implementation of the 7 conversations. We'll be sharing both details of the practices and the tracking tools with examples, along with the theory that supports them. And the idea is that you'll take this and you'll practice it with your level 2 small groups. So you'll have small groups that you can practice with of other participants in level 2. And then also take this and implement it with your work teams or your volunteer teams, whatever other teams are in your life that make sense. And then come back with questions and comments so you and the whole cohort can kind of learn from the experience of implementing the work. Because it is so ruthlessly practical, CoLab is much better learned by doing it and experiencing that integration with other people. So since this course content will be in videos, we'll be spending most of our course sessions debriefing together and exploring the details of implementing shared power in specific instances in each organization, because every implementation is unique, but there's also some common threads that are really helpful to sort of see as you go about putting this work into action. So just to summarize a bit, you'll be practicing and deepening your implementation of CoLab's tools to support shared organizational leadership through knowing how to sense and facilitate both technical and adaptive change in yourself and in your team. Also learning more about the lenses that inform CoLab so that you'll know how to apply them to your organizational environments, and deepening your own somatic intelligence and personal development throughout the program, as well as continuing your practice and implementation of the CoLab tools in a variety of contexts. So adding to that, you'll be putting into action the full spectrum of organizational sharing, power sharing, through facilitating all 7 conversations to develop your vision, mission, and values. So that's our purpose conversation, open your books with a business model conversation, strategize collectively for innovative solutions, and make clear decisions about who has power for what. That's where we get back to the integrative consent and objections and how that works. Also creating clear, effective accountability through ops reports and other mechanisms, learning how to resolve that interpersonal conflict when it shows up, and making that personal change that you want to see in yourself, and supporting your colleagues in doing the same. And Rebecca has a little more to share about each of these modules for us.
Yeah, thanks, Cecile. So that's a good kind of summary of some of the key pieces and a review of the 7 conversations, possibly review. And I just put on this screen the 7 different modules that we'll be focusing on in the course. So we've broken it down into this 6-week module by 6-week module. So each one will really be getting into that content specifically. So I'll take you through them. The first module is on personal development. We thought this was a really great way to start the program off, identifying people's goals and topics for how they want to grow in their leadership and the way that they're showing up in their team. So in level 2, you take what you learned in level 1 a step further by diving into the full spectrum of the practices and also reviewing and practicing how to facilitate this in your team. And then the next module is on governance and operations. And in this space, you'll be focusing in on getting better at facilitating integrated consent, including working with those tricky objections and clarifying governance for your team, and also continue to refine the accountability systems along with your using the operations tracking processes and along with creating scopes and roles. So anything that felt however far you got in level 1, this is the next layer of learning. Learning is often more spiral, so it's the next layer of learning and revisiting some material you already know, but deepening it. And that's the goal of the second module. The third one is on purpose. So you'll learn how to facilitate a team to revisit their purpose, which we define as vision, mission, and values, or to go through this process together for the first time, depending on where your team's at. And this could also include identifying purposes of different scopes as well. The fourth module is on the business model, and this takes you through multiple processes to support a collective, agile, and financially sustainable business model as defined by your team. Lots of ways to think about that, so you'll go through that. And the fifth module is on facilitating the interpersonal conversations. In level 2, you'll learn about how to both nurture your team's cohesion and also address the interpersonal tensions and challenges as they arise. So we'll go through those processes together. And the sixth module is on facilitating the strategy process. And this includes collective prioritization and also how to connect that to your business model, and then also to operations and possibly governance, depending on how your team is set up. And then the last module, the seventh one, is focused on wrapping up, sorting out complex tensions that maybe have multiple conversations happening, and just further creating a plan for your learning wherever you are in that process. So just this last one will really be about supporting you and tying up loose ends.
How do these 7 conversations support healthy shared power in action? And one of the ways that the 7 conversations works is similar to the power matrix, where we are making explicit and visible all the organizational conversations and their outputs. This simple, subtle action takes the conversations that are already being held, adds collaborative process to enable shared power, and clarifies the outcomes in conversations in ways that incrementally move those tensions forward for the whole team. The second way it works is by clarifying that all of these conversations are being held throughout the organization, perhaps in smaller portions, scopes, or with contents that nest inside larger contents, but nevertheless, it makes evident that these conversations are helpful in each and every scope, enabling decision-making, autonomy, and agency in every scope and for every role. As level 1 graduates, you learn the basics of the standard meeting practice and some details around the governance and operations conversations. But if you'd like the skill to walk into many different organizational environments and be able to change those power dynamics into generative ones, level 2 will help you by giving you the full spectrum of ability with all of the conversations, including how to recognize them, understanding how to prioritize them, how to adapt them, and how to implement these practices in different environments to get generative outputs.